Hola, hermana. I was going to make a different type of chicken tonight, but since we talked about breaded chicken before, I figured I would do this and take little videos so I can show you. Yeah, because that's kind of easier, and then you also have directions to follow. So I'm just going to show you right now your ingredients and what you need for it. Firstly, chicken, obviously. I do the tenderloins because I feel like that's easier, but it's really up to you. I just think thinner pieces cook more evenly. Lemon, so you need lemon or lemon juice, either way or both, whatever you prefer. I have both, so I'm going to use both. Garlic, obviously, and butter. This is the other, butter. If you need to know one thing about cooking any type of Italian or Italian American food, it's that their main ingredients, they love butter and garlic. You can't go wrong with too much of either. Some olive oil, I like the extra light, but whatever you have is fine. And breadcrumbs. So I personally like Italian style breadcrumbs. This brand has never really done me wrong, so I kind of stick with it. But I also sometimes don't have that, and I'll use Progresso, this guy. The plain, not as good, mistake. But the Italian herb one is pretty good. Either way, really it's fine. You just add your own seasonings if it's too plain. Side note, you can use flour instead of breadcrumb, and that makes it chicken franchise, which I know you've had before, but Mike and I both prefer breadcrumb because of the texture. It's up to you, but you can try it with breadcrumb, try it with flour, and see what you like better. Finally, shells or pasta. Mike loves medium shells. He claims that this absorbs the sauce better, so he gets a better dinner. I personally like bow tie. You can use whatever type of pasta suits you or whatever you have. It also goes good with rice. I just think it's better with this. And then vegetables, I would say broccoli or asparagus are your best because they also can absorb that sauce. So those are your ingredients. I'm gonna go set up and then I'll come back and show you how to make it. I forgot one key ingredient that's in my fridge here. Eggs. You have to have 1 or 2 eggs for this. Just to put the chicken in. So add that to your ingredient list because I totally forgot it in my ingredient video. So that's that. Add eggs. So making breaded chicken is pretty easy, I promise. It's basically taking your chicken tenders and bathing them in an egg wash and then covering them in breadcrumb, which another thing you can do with the breadcrumb is Mike's lactose intolerant, so I don't do this a lot, but personally I like to add a little Parmesan, like shredded or crumbled Parmesan to it because it gives it an extra flavor. If you and Steven aren't lactose, then something extra to try. It's good either way, but it's just like a little add-on. The other thing, which I might have mentioned, but I don't remember, you can substitute the breadcrumb with flour and then it becomes chicken franchise, which I know you've had before. We personally do like the breadcrumb better. It's just a texture thing, but you could make the exact same way we're making this with flour and the white wine and then it becomes chicken franchise. So, you know, good to have both options, try it different ways. So yeah, now we're going to process, prepare, get it all ready, and then cook. Okay, so here is the setup. I have my chicken tenders already cleaned and ready to go. I did 2 packages because it's me and Mike and he usually takes them for lunch. I have my egg wash. Again, I'm using 2 packages of chicken, so I'm gonna do 2 eggs. The breadcrumb, just kind of poured out mixture, and then a plate for my chicken. So for this, you're just gonna scramble your eggs and get them all perfect here so you're ready to do your wash. And so with this, I usually scramble them and then I do a little bit of lemon juice because I feel like that's helpful, but it's up to you. And I'm sorry I'm doing this one-handed, so a little bit of lemon juice in there. And so you're just going to basically get it all nice and mixed and ready to go. And now we're going to dip the chicken. So as you can see, I still have a lot more chicken, but I let my, this portion of chicken sit in the egg wash for a minute, not like too long, but just, you know, give it 30 seconds, a minute, just let it be completely immersed. And so now once you're ready to go, you're going to take it out, make sure it's covered, and you're going to simply dip it in here. And so you just kind of cover it with the breadcrumb. And I'm doing this with a fork right now because, you know, in the beginning I always kind of use fork, but also because I'm trying to do this while I'm videotaping it for you. But you can use your hands, or like just get gloves or wash your hands beforehand. You'll be fine. It's no big deal. So you're gonna cover, make sure it's all covered. You want it to be looking good at this point, and then you're just going to transfer onto the plate, and that's it. So as you can see, all my chicken is now nicely breaded and dipped through the egg. And this is why I use the wax paper, because now I can simply fold it up and throw it out. Okay, so now we're ready to cook. So we're over on the prepare side. In the pot, you have water enough that it's gonna cover when you put all the pasta in, and like a tablespoon, a pat of butter. Then over here you have just enough oil that will cover the pan, and 2 pats of butter. So 2 in the pan, 1 in the pot, and you're gonna warm both of these up. You wanna bring the water to a boil and just warm this up enough once you add the garlic. Here are all your tools that you're gonna need. So oil, lemon, the shells, butter, garlic. I have 5 cloves because you're gonna have to probably do 2 batches. If you only do 1 batch, then maybe only 3. But again, garlic is subjective, so it's up to you. A garlic press, which makes mincing the garlic super easy. If you don't have one of these, you can just mince it yourself, just make it really fine, but I highly suggest one of these garlic mincers. It's worth it. A little thermometer for the chicken. Literally it costs $5, get one. And then a spatula to flip your chicken. And those are the things you're gonna need. So I'm gonna mince the garlic and add it in, and then we'll start cooking all the chicken. Okay, so now Mike's home, so I'm gonna just use the garlic press and show you. You cut the tips off the garlic. This is how easy it is. You just put this guy in here. And put 2. I did 3 garlic cloves right now. I have 2 for another batch. You see everything? Okay. And Mike didn't know we had a garlic press, so he was self-mincing the garlic for a long time, which he was mad about when he found out that this is how easy it is. And now you have minced garlic. And then I'm just going to push it off into the pan, and that's literally it. And then that's it. It comes out and it's over. I have 3 garlics over here. So for my second batches, you literally just cut the little head off and you put it in the mincer. If you're gonna mince the garlic yourself, if you don't have one of those guys, then you wanna make sure it's really fine, because that's the whole point of this, because it's supposed to cook. And then that's why I have the little pat of oil in here, so the garlic and oil kind of goes together. And so we'll get this all together here. And now we're going to light the stove and let it warm up. And so for this, I put it on, I would say like a medium to high heat, more like a medium. And so that's the flame you want. And it's basically, I'm just gonna let it warm up, let the butter start to melt a little bit. And then once it's a little bit melted, I'm gonna add the chicken in. You don't start the pasta until you're almost done with the chicken, because the pasta only takes like 10 minutes. And so now we're gonna let this warm up, and we'll come back when we're adding the chicken.
Come da porca picchita va bene, se tu la parla miezza americano, Quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, come te viene in capo di I love you.
Okay, so it's been about 5 or 6 minutes on side one, and it smells freaking glorious and divine in here. I wish you could smell it. And so now I'm gonna take a look and see how it looks. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's actually a little dark, to be honest. So we're gonna flip all these bad boys. And see, like, that's perfect. That's what you want it to look like when you're doing your first flip. My pan cooks a little unevenly, so the pieces down here get darker a lot quicker than the pieces up here, which you'll see. Which is fine. You just get to know your pan a little bit. I might get you one of these as a little housewarming, but I have this pan that I already brought to my mom's, and it basically can cook all of the whole thing at once. And it's like a standalone thing. It doesn't have to go on the stove. I'll have to show it to you, but it's a little easier to cook with, and it cooks everything evenly, so that's really nice. But this is fine. So you can see my edge pieces are a little lighter. It's just because they're not getting as much flame. And so now we're gonna do this. It actually looks like the flame might be a little high, and so I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. And then we're gonna do another, I would say 4 to 5 minutes, because these actually cooked a little fast. If it starts to look a little dry, I don't really usually add any more oil. That's only in between batches, but you can add a little more butter in between, and that'll kind of give it a little more so it doesn't burn. But yeah, so now we'll wait another 4 to 5 minutes. So this is a little bit better. It's not ideal, but it's straight in there basically. I turned the chicken on its side and put it right through. This way the temperature gauge is fully in there, and it'll give you a little bit more of an accurate reading. As you can see, this thing is climbing, but it's a little slow. But this was actually one of our pieces that needed to come into the middle. So I'm gonna take a look at one of these guys over here. He's a thicker piece, but he's not, but he's dark, so he should be done. So let's see if I can do this. So we're gonna get it. Ooh, perfect. So you can see it's right on the side there, and he's going right up. Perfect, yeah, because he's basically almost done. Actually, he is done. So see that, 160. He's actually a little higher, so he's good. He can come off. And it's hard for me to do this with one hand, but that's okay. So I'm gonna test the next guy. Same thing. Ideally, it'd be good to go this way, but with one hand, I'm just showing you, so I'm just gonna do this way. And we're gonna get into the side there. And it's at 160 almost already, so we'll just make sure it stays there. This guy, yeah, he's pretty good. He's at 160. We'll leave him another minute. And I bet you this guy is probably good too. So as you can see, these ones are a little more brown. They were in the middle, they were in the hot spot for cooking, and so they cooked a little faster, which is fine. Again, if you have a nice pan like the one I'm gonna send to you as my housewarming gift, it's a little easier because it cooks evenly. Otherwise, you know, this guy also at 160. If it's at that like 159 mark, you're gonna leave it for just another minute just to make sure. And then these guys in here, they have a couple more minutes because they were a little less brown. Ooh, so this guy's done. I'm gonna eat him. I sprayed the lemon. It has the garlic. It tastes phenomenal. At this point, we're gonna move these over to the plate, and then we're gonna re-prep for batch 2. Once batch 2 is about halfway through, that's when we're gonna start the pasta. If you only have batch 1, then around the 15-minute mark of cooking the chicken is when you're gonna start your pasta. Again, the pasta only takes maybe 10-15 minutes tops. And while you're making the sauce and everything, the pasta will still be cooking. So we're gonna take these off and transfer them to the plate and start the next batch. as you can see, the water is now boiling. We are good to go. So we're gonna empty all this pasta in here. Less than half, I would say. It was less than half. A little bit less than half. But yeah, so it's in there. I'll show you a little bit more. Pasta, I feel like you can't always have too much, and it's cheap, so you can always discard it or save it with your leftover chicken. So now it's in there. Again, we put butter in the water. The other thing I do usually is I add a little bit of garlic salt. If you have it, if not, it's a good thing to have. Not garlic powder, which garlic powder is fine if you only have that. But garlic salt, it helps so the pasta doesn't stick. And it gives it a little bit of the butter, water, a little bit of a garlicky flavor. So you'll just mix that up. And then I usually let it come back to the boil here. And then you're gonna lower the heat to a nice medium to medium high, I would say. And it will continue. If it's boiling too much, just turn it down a little bit. But you're gonna let it do that. And then we'll do the couple more minutes and turn these bad boys again, and then we'll come back and check on these guys. Once these are just about done, the pasta will still be cooking, but while these are getting ready to move over, we'll make the final sauce, which goes over all the chicken at the end. And that involves the lemon, the butter, and if you want, a little bit of white wine. Okay, so once we flipped this last time, we're gonna make the sauce. So the sauce, as you can see, we had started with a stick of butter. We used a lot of the butter to cook this and also to add into our pasta. And so the remainder of this butter, which is about this much, this is pretty much perfect for the sauce. We're going to throw that into a bowl, and you're gonna microwave this for about 30 seconds to a minute, as much as it takes to melt. And then we're gonna add some lemon juice and garlic salt, and all good. The pasta is ready, and so I'm going to put that into the strainer and drain the water. If you have a strainer, that's great. If not, again, maybe like 10 bucks. This is a really good thing to have. We're going to strain our pasta. And so take this over here and dump them out. And basically, we're gonna just leave that here for right now. I'm gonna turn this light on so we have a little better of this. There we go. And so I'm just going to shake and let the pasta come out a little bit, as such. Get all that water. The shells are harder because the water gets trapped a little bit, but that's okay. I'm gonna give it a nice shake with 2 hands, and then I'm going to transfer it back into the pot. Pasta, you're just going to, I had to get a new stick of butter because I forgot about this. Otherwise I would have used less butter on the other side. I take 2 pats, about that much, and throw them right in here. And you're just going to basically mix right into the pasta until it melts, because this will give it that nice flavor. I absolutely add garlic salt. Again, my favorite thing here. You can use garlic powder, but when it comes to this type of stuff, the garlic salt is actually a little bit better. And so we'll add that in because it kind of gives it the same kind of zing that salt does, but in a garlicky flavor, which is wonderful. And so we're gonna mix it up. And as we mix the garlic salt and the butter, I'm going to also add in some lemon, which also I forgot to do over here as well, but that's fine. And so we're gonna keep mixing this here. And this is pretty much it for the pasta. You're just gonna put the butter in, put the garlic salt, and put the lemon juice. And it's all really to taste. The butter, again, I would say do like the 2 pats of butter. But that's really it. The lemon and the garlic salt is completely up to your taste. I usually let Mike taste it and tell me if he thinks it's good. And so that's it. And then I just put this in a bowl and serve the chicken over it. The chicken also has its own sauce, which seeps in here, so that's good too. And we're gonna go to the sauce. Okay, so the butter, which might be a little hot. No, okay. So as you can see, the butter's melted. That was that butter that we melted for the sauce over here. And essentially, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add some lemon juice and a tiny, tiny bit of the garlic salt. Not that much, just like a little pinch. And then we're just gonna mix it up really good. And again, this is kind of to flavor as well. So I just kind of, you can kind of tell once you like it. I'm gonna put a little bit more lemon. Oh, not a lemon. All right, so once you have that on and it's good like this, you can add some cilantro. I don't think I have any cilantro, but usually I would add some cilantro. It gives a little garnish. And then you're just gonna basically come over here and you're going to pour it all on the chicken. Again, you can always make more sauce if you want to, but it kind of absorbs right in and it's fantastic. These suckers right here are finally at 160, which they didn't get the sauce, but that's okay. They're honestly, it's really good with or without the sauce. The sauce is just like a little extra. And so we're gonna push all these guys on and we're gonna turn our flame off. And then all of this right here, this is super important because this is your butter, garlic, delicious mixture here. And since we're at the end, I'm just going to pour it on and kind of give it a chance to mix up. And that's it. And so now you have your pasta, you have your breaded chicken, and you can put it on a bowl or in a plate and serve. And yeah, you can make more sauce, more or less, but this is pretty much it. Again, butter, lemon, garlic salt, and garlic are the best friend to you. And this is gonna be delicious. I'm excited to eat it.